the maps are all pretty good for them. They seem to know what they're doing. So they spent this short break being like, what is going on Miramar? And they seem to have fixed a lot of the problems that were shown to them, and they've managed to get their way into that. So I think a lot of times they're getting caught out on rotates. But here we go. Match number 3, heading to the skies. We've got our beautiful little arena here as well to show it as it happens.
Did you just call it little?
It's a small one, isn't it, really?
It's a very, very small.
Look how tiny it is.
Goodness me.
Just like Vikendi.
What is this, an arena for ants?
There are at least a dozen of us in here. Oh, I'll say that now.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic stuff. Plane path cuts straight down the middle. Bottom left, top right. Very, very simple for everybody trying to get anywhere. Dobro Mesto, very accessible. Early drop, you can drive out there. That's going to be fine. It's places like Port that might be a little bit inaccessible, but even so, you can get there, you can loot up. Very, very favourable for pretty much everyone.
Yeah. We've got a beautiful little graphic on the screen here as well for you guys at home, so you can keep up to date with everything that is going on during the tournament. Nova XQF Paraboy over there with 5 kills in 3rd place for the top 5 fraggers of the tournament. Now, that does not surprise me. Regardless of what's happened in PMGC, this guy has always stepped up as a huge fragging member for this team. He really is that glue that pulls the rest of the players together. But look at that overall rankings. RRQ in 2nd place and Abrupt Slayers with 1st on 26 points. Bloody hell, John. Abrupt Slayers are really stepping it up. That's momentum that they wanted.
Absolutely. RRQ tied, of course, in that spot with 26 points. It's very, very tight, and that's what I was talking about early on in that last game, remember, Blank, where I said the top 3 teams from that first game had dropped down early.
Exactly.
Right.
And I mean, just looking at that as well, John, to be honest with you, when you take a look there, Abrupt Slayers are in #1 place because obviously they've had a chicken dinner, which is the tiebreaker there for these teams. And to be quite honest with you, those chicken dinners are going to come in mighty handy because you don't have that many games here this tournament, only 24. So you want to try and get as many as possible on board, just in case you do get the tiebreaker at the top. It is a huge discrepancy between the 1st place and the 2nd place prize.
Certainly is. It's nothing to turn your nose up at. 700k, that'd be pretty great to be able to get that. And I think if you add up what 4AM were able to get from the qualifying stages, from the league stages, that would total to $1 million. If 4AM win here, they would get $1 million total out of the
I know, it would be absolutely mad.
And the MVP prize as well, so that would be another 10,000 on top of it, 1,010,000. If they get another MVP, that would be like
1,020,000.
1,027,000 or whatever it is. I have to double check on the exact number, but that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money indeed. And I mean, look, you guys at home, you've given another $1 million today in terms of viewership. We broke that so easily. Again, a massive thank you to all you guys at home who are staying safe and watching some beautiful PUBG Mobile esports. We've got Hasaki up on the screen there. 167 meter, longest distance kill, 3 kills total. He's doing pretty well. He was really stepping up for the team a lot of times. And this guy's the type of guy that plays in the back for this team, pokes out, hits those off-angle shots, and comes back in again. He really does that job very well for this team. Yeah. I think 4AM, though, they perform best when they have those 4 players on board because their teamwork is phenomenal.
Absolutely. I think it's, one of the best, certainly in the lobby. Sinister, a little bit forwards, and against Alpha 7, we've seen how strong they are on the frag. But will he be able to shut down a little bit? Goes to the spray on the Darcia, but they get the better of him. Really? Sinister falls down early. A beautiful crash from Alpha 7, and there's a reason that these guys have got so many kills, Frank. There's a reason that they have the top fragger in the tournament so far over the last 2 games, and it's first blood for Mafioso.
I had a little chat with Law, actually, before this tournament started. He's such a sweet guy as well. He's like, I will try my best in the tournament. I'll do my best, guys. And he absolutely is doing. This guy is fragging out of his mind this game, this tournament, in fact, as we head into the 3rd map of this whole PUBG Mobile Global Championship Finals. Really good stuff from them, and you don't see that very often. That's quite a difficult thing to pull off, where you're crashing into a compound, and through a window, and through another window from the vehicle, you manage to get the knock there. Really fantastic stuff from Alpha 7, and it is very dominant the way they take that compound. This is what I'm talking about as well. I mentioned it right at the top of the cast here, is that teams will be looking to take those compounds off other teams very early on so they can try and strike that tactical advantage early.
I mean, all in a day's work for Alpha 7, the America's squad who are representing their region. Fantastic for them to be able to come out swinging so strong. You can see Law there doing quite a lot for his squad, contributing a majority of the
total damage for the team.
Of the total damage for the team there. You can see 40% of it coming from Law, and that's what you're talking about. This guy is a machine.
Absolute mad stuff coming out from this guy. But the rest of the game shall take a little while to get started. Most teams having to head down towards the southeast here. You don't tend to get these very central circles on Vikendi usually. It wants to rubber band itself out over into the waters. Make things a little bit more difficult. The coastal side is very popular around here with the buildings that are in place, but we do have the frozen river that cuts through this one with castle in tow, so that will make for some interesting plays towards the end of the game. Winery also here, so you have the elevation also thrown into the mix. So this is going to be an interesting finish. Regardless of what happens, we're going to have an interesting finish.
Absolutely, and this is, if this circle is anything, this is a Moustache Dave circle.
This is a Moustache Dave.
I would say that is definitely the case, because not only is it out to the coastline on Vikendi, it's onto Footballist. They're right on the coastline down on the southeastern side. They are pretty safely tucked away for the next 2-3 circles in this position. They will have to move a little bit further inland later on, but they can survive. They can last out the night and try and break with the dawn.
I think that really for Footballists, what they tend to do very well from what we've seen is they hold down compounds with cheeky little angles very well. They're able to keep the enemy teams back. They're able to keep the enemy teams off them whilst they're playing these kind of angles. So it's really good stuff from them. And I think they've been hindered, in fact, by the positions they've been given in these maps. For instance, let's go back to Erangel, where they were stuck outside on Sosnovka waiting to make their way in. That's not a good position for them. They're forced to play off the back foot towards the end of the game. They're used to having a very dominant position and then crushing from that spot.
See if they're able to find that dominant position moving forwards. Teams on the northern coast starting to move now. Na'Vi have already sent Old Boy out ahead just that little bit. We'll be following it up slowly. Power 888 as well over in Port and Zabava. We'll be moving down south. Class Digital Athletics in that mix as well. All three of these teams will probably be trying to push in near Dino Park, just to the west of Castle.
Yeah, you know, I'm actually pretty pleased with what Na'Vi's doing here. And I've said this before and then been quite displeased about 5 minutes later, but I'm going to say it right now anyway.
Okay.
Na'Vi looking to make their way down on this western side into the circle itself, not hanging around for Class Digital Athletics to make their way down and actually, in fact, start to take some pot shots off them, which we've seen many times happen before, and it kind of causes this really big problem for both these teams where they're in a weird fight for a lengthy amount of time. They can't quite escape, and then another team comes along and finishes up the scraps which are left over from the little scuffle that did happen in that area. Here we're just looking at Abrupt Slayers once again, flexing it a little bit after that nice little win they just got on Miramar.
Not quite in the next circle. They'll have to get a little bit further central. And on Vikendi, as we all know, that is the name of the game. Get a central compound early and we'll see you safe for the next while. 4 AM, they got that memo. They've sent pretty central here, actually. There is another player on that hillside with them, though, from Airwolf Limax, just down the way. Superuna, isolated from the rest of the team, and might have to get out of the way. But 4 Men continue their trek towards the centre of the circle, into the waiting arms of Kanina Power, Alpha 7, A1 as well.
A1, right on this coastal side. You can, if we pull up the map in a little bit, you'll see just how tightly packed all these teams are. And they're tightly packed on the side of the river. And for a good reason as well. You want to be able to have that option to be able to cross at any moment. You don't want to get caught blindsided when you're all the way over on the west side and it's like, that is a hard shift to the east. Now, not only do I have to figure out how I'm going to make my way through the winding roads towards Castle, but how am I going to make my way across the road itself? Potato getting quickly dispatched.
Is that Alpha 7 getting a kill? Who'd have thought? Goodness me, 2 kills already. The only 2 kills in the lobby. And they will continue to maintain the title of top fraggers in the games so far. If you're wondering what the blue surrounding is of the teams on the right-hand side at home, that is teams that are out in the blue. That is teams who are going to remain outside for now. Once they get in, they'll be okay. But you can see Power 888 and Na'Vi both still yet to leave the blue fully. Tixi is the only player for Na'Vi left out in the blue in Dobro Mesto. And Power 888, they're pretty much all out in the blue.
Yeah, they are making their way in now. Quapai, again, just like Tixi, is holding it down. Wonder what he's trying to do there. Collect a little bit more loot before heading in with the rest of his team. The rest of Na'Vi has passed Cosmos. Secret Jin, one single player, just up towards the south of Dino Park. The rest of Secret Jin have made their way in, and they're right on the coast here, John. Just waiting, biding their time. Abrupt Slayers, though, taking more shots over towards Airwolf Limax, who have tried to play out on the edge side. Doesn't work as well for them here on Vikendi, where so many teams will spot you coming from a mile off if you haven't found that compound yet.
However, Airwolf Limax, they still have 2 players, and both of them are in Castle Blank, which means that they're more than likely going to be okay for the foreseeable future, but it's leaving the castle that will prove bothersome. Secret Jin roll up on Na'Vi's spot. A lot of damage to Cosmos, but Matic takes some in kind, will go down. GZ trying to look for the push, but Old Boy at his back. Out wide he goes behind the rock, looking to try and suppress towards the off angle from Meku, but the Micro Uzi just too thunderous there for Old Boy. Rampages forwards and 2 players from Secret Jin down on knee.
Quickly, the boys from Na'Vi have to heal up, make sure they finish off the players here, get some points on board. Tixi making his way down as well. Really like that from Old Boy, actually. He suffered a little bit of damage as he flung himself off the motorbike onto the cold snow below, but it did mean that he got off quite a few pot shots to the players in the vehicle, was able to stop them in their tracks. So really good stuff. Great shot calling from this team to be saying, like, look, let's just stop right now, take shots quickly, make it happen, and they get 2 nice, juicy points out of it.
You can see they are no longer surrounded by blue on the side tables there, which means that they are all into the zone. They will push forwards and try and get their foot in the door on the south side here. Next circle going to be popping relatively soon, but it's quite central blank, and they won't be pushed too hard just yet. Footballist yet to leave their spot, their drop. Secret Jin might try and contest them for it, though. It's a decent spot, controls the western side of this bridge, which is such an important crossing.
4 AM on our screen, Sivan. Dude, that guy is absolutely nutty for that team. I think he'd put up, I think it was 70 kill. Actually, I'm not even completely sure of the number at the end, but it was around about 1/3 of the total kills for the team at the end of the PMGC League stages. It was absolutely ridiculous, to be honest with you. So once this guy's alive, if he's staying alive, then you know some good stuff are going to happen for 4 AM indeed. And I think they're just getting warmed up. And after that win, they got our angle early on. They're already in a nice spot going forward.
Footballists are just sort of vibing right now.
Yeah.
They have got everything that they want right now. You can see they've stacked up those vehicles in nice, safe, secure locations. Really not too many ways that those are going to go down or lose a tyre. When they have to, they can move. Potentially over towards Volnova, but there's quite a lot of teams there already. Abrupt Slayers, they're out in the sticks on the northern side, next to the castle, where Airwolf Limax have their 2 remaining outposts.
I mean, this is completely fine for most teams.
Red dot K9.
You know what? If you want to hit some long shots, you just need a small red dot, and then you kind of just see some movement off in the distance. Oh, I was taking a shot. Actually, that's how the K9 works.
It's no scope or no hope, to be honest.
No scope or no hope. You just like, that's how I play this game as well. I just like duck over, and then sometimes I get a kill every 500 shots or so.
Gyro only K9.
Max sensitivity.
That would be pretty.
Max damage.
That is true. Damage scales with sensitivity.
Yeah, I could do like a ridiculous 900-degree turn in about a 0.5 second.
With gyro, you're just on a...
Me in my spinny chair at home.
Don't be ridiculous, boy.
That's not how they play these games. I actually do know some people who do play in a spinning chair, and then they actually just spin to change direction. I know some people who actually do that. I think Hot Jukes actually does that.
I'd have to double check.
I don't know where he is. I need Hot Jukes,
please.
Hot Jukes, please. Come here.
Verify these facts that we're claiming about you. Oh dear. Na'Vi, they've made their push a little bit closer on the western edge of Winery.
Oh,
They're getting closer to RRQ as well. And might actually come to blows. at this stage. Class Digital Athletics, they're holding out just to the south of Tovar.
Do you play on a spinny chair?
Of course, have to.
It's the best, right?
He said
it's the only way.
This level, dude, be able to track a car, full 360.
He's saying if you have to track a car, it's great. Full 360 motion.
Full 360. Thank you so much, Hot Juice.
There we go.
That's a verification on the cards.
Hey, you know what? We got it done. That's all I'm going to say. Footballist, they have still maintained their sanctuary, their sanity as well for the time being.
I mean, football is not the worst position for them. I just worry for them going forward. I mean, the circle seems to be heading more and more towards the northwest here. It will eventually leave them. Na'Vi towards that elevated position towards Winery. This is good for intel going forward. We know PUBG Mobile is an information game at heart. If they can acquire a little bit of that going forward, it'll be great for them. Let's take quick stock of these players. Na'Vi has 1 knock, as do Class Digital Athletics. You can see Matic going over to pick up his boy Meku.
There we go. Not too sure where the knock came in from. I imagine that it was from Secret Jin. Seen ones with real sight lines over to the position. Okay, yeah. There it is. There's Kengzo.
Oh, it's the solitary samurai.
Hits the bullet, but not quite getting the knock. Looks for another. 4 bullets in the magazine right now, blank, but he is going to fade away. Kengzo doesn't want to be isolated into his position. He knows there's 2 more members of Na'Vi out there biding their time.
That guy is pretty scary, I won't lie to you, so I wouldn't count Secret Jin out just yet. Take a look down to 4 AM at the moment. You can see them down here, Alpha 7 and 4 AM. Their damage comparison. 4 AM obviously not doing a huge amount of damage. They did wait out a lot of these games, but still 1,700 for how patient they've been is quite a big number, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, they do pretty well, both of these squads, however. And they're right across the ridge lines, which is why this comparison is actually quite interesting there. Both pretty big numbers there. There is quite a difference in that damage, but it is very early into these games. And remember, 4 AM actually went down.
It's all play style as well, right?
Exactly. 4 AM went down very, very early in that last game, which means that almost all of their damage is from the first entry there. So the fact that Alpha 7 only have 1,000 more, I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. I think Alpha 7's playstyle is quite aggressive as well. And I like how they're playing it. I think you can play aggressive so wrong as well. We've seen so many times where we've had an aggressive team fly into compounds time and time again and just get completely shut down. Alpha 7, on the other hand, seeming to make it work. And I think that's absolutely okay when you got muscles like these guys.
Notably, actually, it was Nova XQF who did exactly what you're talking about. They sort of flew into these compounds without scouting and got taken down on an aggressive play. They learned their lesson a little bit towards the ends of the tournament, somewhat. They still have their foibles. But
my eyes were twitching. That's why he said that.
Yeah, absolutely. But they seem to have learned a little bit of a lesson there, and potentially so have everyone else. Alpha 7 have their wits about them. They've been controlling a lot of ground in the 2 games previously. We'll see if they're able to do that. Of course, they're on the eastern side of this river at the moment, which means that they probably are going to have to cross depending on this next shift that's going to come in a few seconds. So they won't have as much control as they once did. Will they be able to have the similar result, play that aggressive strategy that they've been up to for the last 2 games?
Moving away very quickly, it does head over to the eastern side. That's Zuxi, though, getting taken down behind the vehicle. Just about gets behind the buggy, but he's going to bleed out fairly shortly. And now Bigatron down to 3. Not a good start to the finals for them at all. And remember, we've got to make an emphasis that, only 24 matches total. Every single match counts even more than before, because you need to get those points on board and make it fast.
The circle shifts out to the west flank, which means that, as we said, Alpha 7 will have to shift. Aerowolf just still inside it in Castle with their 2 players who've been there for quite a while. The northern side, as we've just seen that fight between Power 888 and Bigatron, will have to move forward. But footballists are going to have to leave as well. Na'Vi, 3 to a car. I hate to see it, but they get away with it. AXA not able to get that spray down. That's Invuln over on the western edge.
Oh, okay, AXA. Nice one.
Hardcore parkour right there.
I know, right? It cheekily just makes its way down there like Spider-Man, just hanging from the ledges. A1 outside of the walls at the time being, just watching in towards Kingdom Power. I mean, you'd imagine that A1 would know that there's a team currently in here. They are right on the cusp of the circle. They have some great advantage in terms of the area that they control. They'll be looking over towards Alpha 7, who you imagine is going to wait as long as possible over on this eastern side for the teams that might be gatekeeping allowing them to move to a better position for themselves. Footballers is another one of those teams. They've come up from the bottom of Winery using that hilltop to gather that information, see where they'd like to go next, but it's RRQ who are currently in the way.
Goodness me, is it first light of the 5th day? Because that's the Rohirrim atop the hill there going in for RRQ. And they are looking from the south, not from the east this time around. So
no.
Maybe the comparison falls short, but potentially looking to dismount RRQ's position there. Some nice spots for them. Or they could just try and skirt around it. RRQ, a difficulty in front of them. And do they meet it head on, or do they try and flow around it?
I mean, Lutz has already made his way through. You know, I actually really like this push from Lutz, from Footballers. He's a single player. He can make his way through on his own, fairly undetected, and try and provide a route for the rest of this team to actually bomb towards, which is absolutely fine. I mean, Footballers definitely need to do something with the next circle. About to pop very shortly. Gonna hit up onto our screens. Team Secret currently right in the middle. They've had some good luck here on Vikendi, and they have it once again as it drops on top of them. I want to see some stuff out of U-High. He's an incredible player, but Ice continues to find these knocks.
Husky very low as well. Sook up close and personal with him. The circle will start to do quite a bit of damage here as 4AM going to have the Kosh put on them. And they just retreat. Power 888 playing disciplined here, Blank.
I mean, yeah, to be honest with you, I'm glad they are. They had some real big hiccups towards the end of the league stage, but we're looking at Kanina Power, the two CIS teams here for this finals, going head-to-head against one another.
Alpha 7 taking a lot of punishment on the eastern side from Zeus, actually going very, very low, down to one player. But in the meantime, Kanina Power continue to clash on the western end of Villanova with Na'Vi. They've only had one knock so far into Meku, and they potentially are going to be able to res this. Kanina Power backing off, it seems, for the time being.
4AM really having a rough time of it. I think they spent way too much time trying to get those 10,000 steps in a day at this point. I think they just need to get into the circle and find a position. We've seen so many times on Vikendi where they have just shot towards a position in the circle itself, find a nice compound. But here, I think they're just playing a little bit too hesitant. It is fine because they've still got some points on board from the beginning of the day, but that lead that they'd begun so early is starting to get away from them.
A1 are trying to push into the middle of this fight, and the two CIS teams are turning around and be like, guys,
come on.
We're fighting here.
We're having a cage match.
Step off.
So rude.
Nades being thrown in now from Tixie, close range. Gets the knock onto 6-9 and a bit of damage onto Jax. Old Boy has been knocked in the meantime. This is a chance for Kanina Power to maybe strike, but Old Boy gets flushed out. A1 pick up the kill. Nade up the top. Tixie takes some damage. Dante fades away and doesn't get done over.
You know, Tixie should be dead there. That grenade exploded right within the frame, so only took a little bit of brunt damage there, unfortunately, for A1. So Tixie counting his lucky stars at the moment. Na'Vi now down to just 3. That Secret Jin also going out towards the south side. Nova XUF just holding it down over the side of the road.
Lucky once, not so lucky again. Tixie gets knocked. The nade finds its mark this time around. And will be still in Volnova, the arena of their combat. Bigatron very, very low. Luxy last standing there. Has to heal up a sliver of HP. Both Ryzen and Microboy trying to hold on, but the spray down from 4 Angry Men will eliminate Bigatron for a 3rd time. Abrupt Slayers are eliminated as well. And so now it's just 4AM on that northern side, thinking, where did everyone go? Footballist, maybe a little bit further to the south.
Yeah, this is the hard crunch that happens every time here on Vikendi, where teams have to suddenly start bolting it towards the middle. Team Secret still holding down a beautiful compound over in the middle of this one. And Class Digital Athletics continue to be consistent in this finals. Another good compound for them that they found on a similar trajectory made by Na'Vi. Na'Vi just went a little bit further than them. Digital Athletics decided actually to opt to stop a little bit earlier and hit up a compound here.
Kanina Power looking to try and leave as well. We saw what they can do. A nade on its mark, beautifully found there from RRQ. 4 players alive. Looks like they're going for that res as well in the back. Beer 11 and D2E, brothers in arms, staying linked right now. The Phalanx moves on.
King is just belting it towards Order of them. I'm okay with this. King seems to be really like the medic of the team, just rushing around, trying to find players to pick back up again, but RRQ will be having none of it. They won't allow this res to go through. They realize they need to press the advantage. Now it's a 4v3 between them and Nova XQF. Great position found for RQ, but they still have a ways to go. They are not in the circle just yet.
Not too many potential third parties as well. It's really only Class Digital Athletics who could chime in to this fight, which means it is basically straight head-to-head combat right now between Nova XQF and RRQ Athena. Looking to try and push on forwards. Ernie leads the charge up to the two blue crates, jumps the gap, drops to hit the deck, smokes out wide to try and get the off angle. A knock goes over to Kanina Power as they take a fight on the hillside with Zeus around the windmills. Axa going low. Two players down now for Kanina Power. Gonzo mounts up, tries to get a new angle as Black-White will get flushed on out. As that's kills coming in thick and fast down towards Nova XQF, as now it's Zeus who can third party into this fight as well. And everything's starting to pop off. Nova XQF, I believe that's them going very, very low. RRQ, all four players standing, and Kanina Power all but done as Frozen's out in the blue.
Quickly check in with Footballist after that nice little push from Lutz. They found a position over towards this northwest side where not a lot of teams are currently congregating. So they're in a really good spot. Zeus continued to take that fight between them and Kanina Power. Gonzo trying his best to crawl into the circle whilst he is down. Na'Vi now out. It will look like Frozen makes his way over to. So Kanina Power could possibly remain in this game with 2 players, but 8 teams now remain as the next circle will pop. Let's see where it goes. This could really change things up depending on the position. Down towards the south, not really any compound remaining within this one, just the barest amount of Nova XQFs as well as Class Digital Athletics.
RRQ, remember they were tied for first place on 26 points now, so they can streak out ahead of the Abrupt Slayers who went down a lot earlier. And it's consistency that's seeing everyone safe here, although RRQ, they take a knock. Class Digital Athletics, they are echoing back and forth, 1 for 1, blow for blow, blank. They trade it off.
RRQ, take 1 knock. Nova XQF, that's Powerboy down now for the team.
Oh. Knock sent over towards Rex for Team Secret against the Footballist onslaught right now. They will have to move down south pretty sharpish. As Footballist looking to try and swarm around. They are on the back foot, but Secret potentially caught up in this compound. Might find it difficult to leave, but Yuhai Boy out the back trying to give them an escape route.
I think that right now Team Secret need to get rid of Footballers. This is probably high priority for them. Power Triple Eight with 1 knock on hand gives a little bit of breathing room to them. That's Powerboy taking down D2E. So Nova XQF continuing their reign towards this south side.
Nova XQF, RRQ and Class Digital Athletics right now waiting for someone to make that first move. Sprays coming in from Power Triple Eight, who again have to make that push. Such a tricky spot, and they all mount up. 4 to a vehicle for Power Triple Eight this late in the circle. If you get done, you're going to go down right into the middle. Such a risky play, but they managed to get into the zone, and that might just give them the advantage they need against Footballist, against Team Secret.
Team Secret just are not having a good time right now. Great nades coming through. Footballers, they want to claim zone here. Move to the front. Loverson jumps around the side. That's 1 kill already found.
Oh, no.
Great jump shot from Matoy. Beautiful stuff, and will survive. Eye shot still up here. Matoy has to try and get out of there as soon as possible, but the blue is ticking.
2 players alive. Matoy gets knocked across the way. Eye Shots tries to stand tall, but Power Triple Eight are ready and waiting with open arms. However, Jimmy lands the shots from the sidelines. That is all the teams on the north now eliminated. Power Triple Eight behind their rock, looking to hold strong right now. The circle will shift. It will favor one of these 4 teams. All 4 points of the compass occupied right now, and Power Triple Eight are blessing their lucky stars as it shifts out northwest.
This is beautiful for them. They have a lot of hard cover that they're currently holding down. Francis Lennox will have to leave their compound too. RRQ trying to find a pick onto Nova XQF. There's the first one. King goes down. This is a really important game for RRQ. They have not held the trophy of a championship as of yet, but they've always been chasing it. And if they get some more points on here, it will be looking good for them at the start of this finals.
Power Triple Eight trying to zone them away, looking for that res. A single nade would prove really quite bothersome for them. RRQ, they're down to 1.
Yeah.
G9 hiding out in the warehouse. Nade over the top. That's a Molotov, sorry, to stop Paraboy on the close peaks, but really, what is there left in the tank looking for the angle there, can't quite find it on the Molotov. Now G9 wants to get these reses.
Cheeky.
Paraboy reads it, moves on over the wall. Class Digital Athletics, they need to try and take some real estate in the meantime. And that's a Molotov. Did that just finish off both of them for Paraboy?
Goodness me. Like you said, that was open like a book for Paraboy. He was just straight through those chapters. Great read from him. Now moves forward with the smokes unleashed by Jimmy. Now they can get further into this circle. Power AAA are down on their knees. They have really taken a lot of hits. Jimmy survives, brushes that one off like it's nothing.
It's not even a problem. Class Digital Athletics clashing now with Power 888 around the side of the rock. Nova XQF will have to try and snake their way through, and Power 888 should be worried. It's a 3 versus 2 if they take the fight that way. But they just don't have the info at this moment. Ice looking to try and play backstop. Paraboy spotted out. Functioning perfectly. One player now standing for Nova XQF. It's Jimmy. Class Digital Athletics pop the nades over the top, looking to try and push them off the rocks, try and force them into an unfavorable fight. 4 versus 3. Nades sent back, however, and might just find what they're looking
Soulless.
for. Triple T's going to hit the deck. Jimmy, last player standing, snaking in for Nova XQF. Looking to mount up and spray on in. Gets a lot of damage done, but Silas stands tall. Gooey around the rock, not quite able to finish that off. Soulless goes low. Silas, he might not have any HP, but it's not even going to matter. Class Digital Athletics rampage across the tundra.
Absolute fantastic game of Class Digital Athletics. It felt like they were in control the entirety of that time. Wonderful stuff from them. Power 888 though, Ice with 7 kills on 4. What a performance from this guy. We kept coming back onto